It took me literally 200 days to learn what I'm about to teach you in 5 minutes. I only do this sometimes. I mean, it's a nice day in Miami when so first off, why 200 dates? I think the first thing you got to realize is that through repetition, that's how you learn. And not only that, but to find what you're looking for, you're going to have to dig through a lot of shit, a whole lot of shit. Now, eventually I did find gold and I did find some rough diamonds in the middle. But all in all, I'm at the point now where I have so much experience. I've seen almost every scenario, almost every type of girl. I know exactly how to navigate the dating process, and this is why I do it full time, helping guys master their dating lives with the Romeo effect. Right. The first thing I'll tell you is that we don't want to have fairy tale eyes. There's been countless of times where I was on dates. Within the first 20, 30 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, the best woman I've met. Everything's so great. She's so good. She's perfect. Who knows? This can even last long term. And then I'm settled for disappointment. She starts pulling back. She starts acting different. Maybe she was dating somebody else. Maybe she got back with her ex, whatever the case may be. All in all, expect disappointment and almost operate with a pessimistic mindset. Now, that sounds bad. That sounds negative, but that's actually very rational. It's actually very logical because what I've learned is that the woman must prove herself to you as to how she can bring value to your life and why she is that said person you met on the first date over the course of time. Now, also on first dates, you actually don't want to talk too much. You almost have like this doctor client sort of discussion. It's not that you're like super stoic and like Terminator and super masculine frame. That's not the case whatsoever because we do need to speak. Speaking is how you form a connection, but you don't want to talk a lot about yourself, nor do you want to over dominate the conversation with just you yapping. And I've worked with plenty of guys at this point, and I can tell that some guys have personalities in which they're really, really type A. They're very aggressive. They like to dominate conversations. And in my head, as I'm speaking with these men, I'm like, bro, if we don't tame this down a little bit, especially like on the first date itself, you're going to get mentally disqualified. And the reason why is because women love to talk about themselves, man. They love to do it. In fact, if you ask right questions, open ended, you give your points here and there, you tell a few stories, but they will effectively do most of the talking for you. But here's the kicker: you don't want the woman to start leading the conversation. So whoever asks most questions is in fact leading the conversation. And so if you notice that you're responding a lot, you're telling stories, she's asking questions, listening, that means the frame has been flipped. She's now in the masculine. You gotta take that back and start doing more of the questions. Now, speaking of conversation, vibe is everything. And that vibe is simply being easy to talk to. And being easy to talk to is effectively listening and asking good questions. As simple as that. Now, vibe, I will also say, is not being awkward or anything, not feeling awkward. Because with women, everything is a feeling, it's emotional. So if it feels like an easy conversation, if it feels effortless, if you lead the date, if she feels like no time has passed, that's how you know you created the right vibe. And that will increase your chances of actually going out on another date with that woman. Once again, vibing is simply being a good listener, easy to talk to, and just flowing with the conversation. This actually comes with practice. So if you're a guy who doesn't go out on a lot of dates, perhaps the first few dates are not going to go too well. But, by date 6, by date 7, once you've been on enough volume, it gets easier and easier. But of course, you must actually get the woman out on a date. And that's why I've been working with the guys for the past 3, 4 years now to install what I call the Romeo effect so that they actually attract the women who they like, who actually show up to the date, don't flake on you, or at least the flake rate is really low, and they're high interest, and they're attractive. We do this by installing what I call 3-layer positioning. So your pictures, your prompts, your bio, and alongside with the texting process, I call it the dating funnel, in which we'll show you exactly how to transition that from a match all the way to a date completely done for you. Once again, it's called the Romeo effect. I created a free presentation going over exactly how this works. If you click the link down below in the description, I'll explain everything to you. Now, last thing here, guys, is that you never want to invest too much emotionally, as we discussed at the first point, but also you don't want to invest too much financially either. Because the thing about first dates is that there's about a 70% chance that you'll never see that woman again, especially if you're not that great with women. Even with me, I would say there's probably a 30% chance I'll never see her again, even if the date went perfect. And this is not only because, she saw another guy or she lost interest, but logistical reasons, man. Like sometimes logistics just make it difficult and then you fall off and then you never see her again, right? And now here you are invested $150, $200, $300 into a first date and you just feel like it was a waste. Not only did you waste money, but you wasted a lot of time. If you're in a tier one city like Miami, New York, LA, I would say $70 or less for a first date is a good deal. But $100, $150 plus, that's where you're pushing it on the high investment side. Essentially, how first dates and the dating process should work from dates 1 through 3 is that you slowly increase your amount of financial investment because as she continues showing up, that means that she actually likes you. But at the same time, things should also progress physically or environmentally. And so let's say the first date you guys meet out at a lounge. Second date, should she feel at least maybe comfortable stopping by your place or coming by your place first and taking you, then you take her out to the date, or maybe pulling her back to the place. And then let's say the third date, she should be completely comfortable with going over to your place to cook, being in a more intimate environment with you, making out or even sealing the deal at this point. And that's how the game is played and that's how both parties win. Because at the start, it really is a tug of war sort of game. But as a man, you must maintain frame, but you also must attract a woman with high interest because it's going to make this process so much easier, so much easier. And as a guy who's been on 200 plus days, trust me, I will never not do high interest ever again, ever again. So once again, if you want to see how the Romeo effect can actually get you to start attracting more high interest women to actually show up on the date so that you can put your dating life effectively on autopilot, click the link down below, watch the free presentation. See you guys next video. Peace.